Hi folks, and welcome to part 2 of this little Soundscape project that I've been working on. I've finally decided on a concept as to what I want this to be. In the first video I was showing that I'd collected some nature sounds using a field recorder. I've since went back and done some more recordings just for a little bit more clarity. You can now hear more of the water flowing and more birds in the trees. So a nice peaceful atmosphere. Now, I do have a little technical issue that I've ran into because I'm also doing this project in Pro Tools. I'm doing it across 2 separate DAWs, but I can't seem to get the audio from Pro Tools into the screen recording software that I'm using. So I've just bounced out a stereo file of the first section just so you can have a listen to it, and I'll give you a little talk through as to what is going on. Right, I've not done much processing with this at all. It's really just filtering off some low end to give those birds in the water a little bit more clarity. I've also recorded some footsteps and some more pebbles being thrown into the water. I've automated the pan position of the footsteps to go from the right into sort of the centre, slightly off to the left of someone approaching. And here the person is. Some nice little splashes. Now, before we get to the last splash, I should just tell you what this is about. I've tried to create a little story of a man approaching the side of a river. He's throwing some stones in. It's nice and relaxed. He's just enjoying the sunshine. But he doesn't know that a monster lives in the river. So I wanted to try and transition between this nice little quiet section into something a bit more chaotic. So for the last splash, I've added a delay onto it. And that's where the next bit happens. And that next bit is of the monster emerging from the water. So I'll just give you a little talk through as to what I've done with that. I have used the original waterfall sound that I recorded in the very first video, my first little visit to the park. And what I've... just have a little listen to it. So quite static. But what I've done, I've added an EQ to it and I've automated it so it gives it a nice sort of low rumble sound. I want it to feel like there's something moving under the water and it's rising up. So I've added the EQ, a low pass filter, and you'll be able to see this moving as it plays on. It's just slowly moving up. And then suddenly it moves all the way up to the end of the spectrum. So I want that to sound like the water's flowing up into the air. And then the next layer is just another low rumble. And I did this by using a timpani roll on a orchestral sound library. Just a long timpani roll, and then change the pitch of it, and again a low pass filter just to give it a more rumbly sound. I think there's a little bit of reverb on that as well. So that and the waterfall together just to reinforce that rumble, so you can feel that it's getting closer. And that's the moment where it bursts through. The next one is some bubbles, which I recorded by doing this. Just a water bottle and a straw. That's really all it is. And I changed the pitch of that as well, just down a couple of semitones. to make it seem like the bubbles are pretty big. So that, along with the waterfall and the rumble. And I've also recorded some splashes by just filling up the bath a little bit and just swishing my arm around it, round through the water. Well, I'm not entirely happy with that, because it was recorded in a bathroom, which is extremely reflective area. So it's not quite great. It sounds okay once it's blended in with everything else. It's not too bad. And I also recorded some drips, just by putting a towel in the bath and then wringing it out to get all those drip sounds. And that's to represent all the water raining down after this thing's burst out. And the final sound for this layer, or for this section, sorry, my apologies, is a cinematic percussion library, just a big drum hit. Then I duplicated it and reversed it and added the reverse onto the front, just to add a little bit of swell, which complements that waterfall sound. So all of those together sounds a little bit like this. And now I'm making a start on the noise of the monster itself. So I've started by using a little sample of when I was messing around with the water in the bath, and I just took the towel and just slammed it down into the water to get a nice big splash. For this thing's footsteps, it's coming out of the water, it's coming out upwards and then lands on the bank. So those splash sounds, and then I've reinforced that to give a bit of weight to this monster for its footsteps, is just that cinematic percussion sound again. It's a different drum from the burst one that I used. Again, just to get the feeling of a little bit of weight to this thing. So the next stage for this is going to be making the noises of the monster, the roars and the growls, and I'm going to be doing this using my own voice. The human voice is an extremely versatile and unique thing, and I'll be employing a lot of pitch shift to do this, but that will be in the next video. So until then, thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you soon.